Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we're back with another episode of the Bold Prediction Sports Media Podcast. And as tradition, he's Mr. KC from the 813. I'm that dude with the beard. And ladies and gentlemen, the NFL season is really almost among us. It's coming closer and closer. It's hurling at you. It's like that little kid on the playground who just threw the dodgeball at you. If you don't look, it might get you. So we talking NFC South today, Mr. KC. Is that what we got going on, right?
That is what we're talking about. The dirty NFC South with a lot of fan favorite cities, if I don't mind saying so myself.
Yeah, especially if we consider last year, we were high on a few of these teams a little bit here and there during the season, and there's been some quarterback maneuvering that might be worth talking about here on each said team that's first coming to mind. But as we go forward, I'm sure there'll be more stuff that'll come up through the memory banks as we go. But the South is relatively the most open division in football, probably.
I mean, when I
Dude,
think about it, that's the first thing I think about is like just how open minded I'm gonna have to be going into picking this division winner because there's no clear cut. This is open. This is an open
it's
race,
open
folks.
without a shadow of a doubt. And Mr. KC, as tradition, is going to walk us through here. Who you got first upcoming here? Who's first on the slate?
I think for the first team, we should get down to probably my favorite dirty South traditional team, and that is going to be the Atlanta Falcons. If we're going to talk about the dirty South, you know we got to talk a little Falcon football.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. One of the staples of the South. You want to definitely start with Atlanta, talking about this kind of thing. And what other game to start off with than a rivalry game? And
Woo.
and between two people who are virtually rookies, um, neither one of them's played an NFL. Well, started an NFL game so far here. Um, Dude, we're about to see Desmond Ritter. We're about to see what's the boy named Bryce Young, the Alabama product. In this game here, who's more complete as far as an overall team? I'm going to go with the Falcons in this game. I think they've got a little bit more going, especially just looking at last year records and how they lost certain games, and never by too much. I mean, there's only a few games where it was just blatant losses, but Atlanta's more resilient than the Panthers, especially early in the season here. And like I said, you know me, I'm not an Alabama quarterback believer unless it's Mac Jones. You got to become a Pro Bowler and show me something. Let's do it. Let's go Falcons. Who you got going into this one, Mr. KC?
Well, this is an interesting game because I think the Panthers actually have the better quarterback situation.
Ooh,
But I'm actually inclined to say that the Falcons have a better overall team, probably a more solid defense, and just I feel like slightly more just overall experience. So I'm going to join you and start out with the Falcons winning over the Panthers.
all right. So we both got the Atlanta Falcons at 1-0 going into week two. And week two's matchup here, normally I would just say should be a cakewalk. It should be skate through. You got Jordan Love and the Packers. And um, honestly, my heart of hearts, I think the Falcons are going to win this game too. Even though Jordan Loves has been there and he's been in that situation, but Green Bay is just, they just keep showing you that they really don't care about winning right now. I don't know what's really going on out there. But I got the Falcons. They're moving to 2-0, Mr. KC.
I'm going to join you there too. I think the Falcons are trying to move out of that dumpster fire category while the Packers are moving straight into it.
Straight
So,
into it.
for a team that I think is going to be building, I'm going to join you and pick the Falcons. They're trending up, and I believe the Packers are going to be trending down.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah. I can't even think of anything positive to say about the Packers to try to give them any leeway for that win. Besides that, maybe namesake, but it's over. The Falcons get that. Interesting game though. The next week here, we got the Falcons versus the Lions, and honestly, man, the quarterback matchup in the teams, I might go with Detroit in this game. Um, if the Falcons do win, I wouldn't be surprised. They had a tight one last year. If they can come out and beat Jared Goff and move to 3-0, I'll be more comfortable with some of these picks going forward. But I think Detroit gets this game. I think they move to 2-1.
Yeah, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I'm actually joining you here. I'd feel better
Oh
about the
goodness!
Lions if they had a full roster. If people weren't suspended on this one, I'd feel so much better about the Lions. The Falcons could win this game, but I
They
like
could.
Jared Goff a little bit more in this situation, so I'm going to lean with the Lions as well.
Gotcha. And moving forward here, even though 2-1 is not a bad start, you move into your toughest challenge of the season so far, and you got to play the Prince of the AFC South, the Prince that was promised. And unfortunately, Atlanta fans, you moved to 2-2 on the season when you face the Jacksonville Jaguars, and it's not a bad position to be in. It'll be a hard fought game, but Jacksonville's on another level right now. Mr. KC, who you got?
Well, I'd hate to admit that the Prince has arrived and the Prince is here, but Do the Beard has called Trevor Lawrence's career correctly, and I'm not gonna disappoint him and choose otherwise. The Prince is here. What can you say? You run into a very improved Jaguars team that hopefully the Falcons can get a quarterback soon and match kind of the same kind of performance.
No, and that's without a shadow of a doubt here. But luckily, Falcons fans, you get to play the Texans next week. And normally, this would be a game where I would ride with the Texans just because I am a CJ Stroud fan, Ohio State. But I still believe that the Falcons are a better team overall. As far as the quarterback positions is TBD, to be determined on that one. But the Falcons, like I said, they're battle tested. Uh, they're going to win more games than the Texans this year. So I'm pretty sure they're going to beat the Texans. Mr. KC, who you got?
Well, I'm not fully sold on that analysis of the Texans. I think the Texans have improved greatly, both
Hmm.
offensively and on defense in the offseason. And
Hmm.
I think CJ Stroud is probably a better quarterback prospect. So I'm
Oh yeah,
actually
for
going to
sure. As
lean
far as
with the
perspectives.
Texans on this one. And they were a scrappy team last year, and they've might have solved their quarterback situation.
No, I don't doubt that here. I'm just thinking as far as it's going to take for this thing to jail here with everything being so new. But they could just, jump right on track. It could be the case here. I'm just going with the quarterback who's kind of been sitting and waiting. I kind
Yeah.
of like that situation. The next week is a tough game, I think, for the Falcons. You got to play the Commanders, and I'm high on the Commanders here. They're a good team. They're a scrappy team. They proved to be in that division a fringe playoff team, honestly. And this game could come down to the very wire, and I'm gonna go with the Commanders in this game. I think that they moved to 3-3 on the season, as far as Atlanta, which is still not a bad place to be in. But I think the Commanders get this win. What about you, Mr. Casey?
This is actually a really hard game to predict preseason, I believe. This is two
It's tough.
lower tier teams that are very similar in nature. I mean, I like Scary Terry with the Commanders. I think I like Desmond Riddler more for the Falcons. I'm actually going to lean with the Falcons and meet you there at 3-3 and give the
So
Falcons the
young
win.
Desmond Ritter gets another win. let's do it. We 3-3. And then luckily for Falcons fans, next week you get the Buccaneers. And I think that's a win for you guys. The Buccaneers are another downward trending team, in my opinion. Quarterback situations unresolved, still in my opinion, even with the addition of Baker Mayfield. I still got the Falcons in this game, moving on to 4-3 on the season. Mr. KC.
I'm actually gonna lean the Bucks on this one. They have a more complete roster, I believe, from A to Z. They're missing a quarterback, absolutely for sure. Tons of questions there. They still got guys like Mike Evans out there, good wide receiver core, pretty solid defense. I'm gonna lean with the Bucks here, but I'm not sold. I think it might be a split series for these two teams.
Could very well be. Next game for you Falcon fans, another fortunate event. You get to play the Tennessee Titans, and I believe you moved to 5-3 on the season here in this game. The Titans are prepared for what you guys are going to be throwing at them. They're just not going to be prepared for anything. I just this Titan situation for a team that was fringe playoff considerably all the time is just now sinking its way to the bottom of the South. Just watching Trevor Lawrence do the Michael Phelps right past him. Just yeah, I done caught up and now we're beyond. Falcons. This is another win. You're 5-3 on the season.
Yeah, I'm going to join you with that analysis. I think the Titans are a dumpster fire. This is a definition of a team like I believe taking a dive. Like, what are they? I don't think they had any intentions to be competitive this year. And I think the team that wants it more has got to be the Falcons. So I'm going to lean with the Falcons with the win here.
For sure. And the next game coming up here will be a tough one. This will be a doozy here. It's going to be a heck of a game. It's the Vikings coming to town, the Kings of the North coming to the dirty South there, and I'm going to go with the Falcons in this game.
Mm,
Uh, Kirk Cousins, uh, we'll see. Because, like I said, he's on the clock. Who knows how his performance will be? They lost some pieces. I mean, you still got Justin Jefferson. Um, but I think the Falcons find a way to win. Like I said, they didn't lose too many games last season by getting blown out. You know, they lost close games. I figured they find a way to remedy that, and they pick up a big win here against the Minnesota Vikings, moving to 6-3 on the season.
yeah, and I hate you almost convinced me there. That was a really good sales pitch, and I thought about it because I agree the Vikings are a downtrending team. I'm not a fan or supporter of them this season, but I think the Vikings still get it done. Um, I just the Kirk Cousins is not a great quarterback, but this is a noon game or 1 o'clock game, non-prime time. Give me Kirk Thuggins.
Ooh, hey, might as well. But fortunately, again, for you Falcons fans, you get another game that's better than a bye week. You get to play the Arizona Cardinals, which is probably the most dumpster fire of a team in the NFL, and you move to 7-3 on my watch here, which is not bad in the NFC right now. 7-3 with the win over the Cardinals.
Yeah, better than a buy. We can capitalize that, put that on the screen, circle it, all the above. There's enough said there. The term speaks for itself. Go Falcons, go.
Right. Oh man, and probably here the most
And I
touted
think,
uh divisional game that I've been waiting on here, which is really probably the best quarterback in the division in Derek Carr and the and the New Orleans Saints versus the Falcons. And honestly, I think the Saints win this game. I think Derek Carr is probably on a run. Who knows? We have to see with the schedule, but I think they get the Falcons here for sure because Derek Carr is going to need that kind of win, and especially in a division when he's not used to even winning a division. So you know we'll get to see a side of Derek Carr that we've never seen. So Atlanta, you move to 7-4
Y-
on the season right now.
Yeah, and I'm gonna join you on that pick with the Saints over the Falcons. Derek, like you said, Derek Carr's made a wise choice to choose a NFC team and get out of the AFC West to give himself a chance in his career. That gives me I'm right at 5-6 on the season, so we're starting to get a little far apart, but not too crazy.
Not too crazy because, unfortunately, they get two L's in a row here. Because after that, you have to play Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets, and that's just not a game you guys are going to win in December, especially in New York or in Jersey, wherever the stadium is. But still, shout out to you, Jets fans. Atlanta, you're 7-5 on the season, which is still fine. Playoff contention in this division so far. I know we're starting with you, but dude, 7-5 at this point, you couldn't ask for more. Like this is pretty good. What do you think, Mister Casey, about this game?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that's consensus picked for the Jets to beat the Falcons here.
Hmm.
You said two losses in a row, so you think they're gonna lose to the Bucks in the second game?
Oh no, no, no! I didn't mean to say two losses in a row.
Oh, okay, I got it with the
Oh yeah,
Saints
yeah,
and the
yeah,
Jets makes it
yeah.
two losses. Okay, I got you.
Right.
I started looking ahead. It was like I'm not completely
Yeah,
sold on that yet, but yeah, I'm with you on the
yeah.
Jets.
Right. No, because I actually got the Falcons sweeping the Buccaneers. I think they get them twice, going into this next game and moving them up to 8-5 on the season after a tough loss to the New York Jets.
Yeah, and I'm gonna give them the win over the Buccaneers on this game as well. I'm right there with you. I think they get back on track.
Right. And honestly, I think they snag another win against the Panthers again. TBD on the time of the game here. That has yet to be determined. But we know it's going to be the 17th of December, and I think it's going to be a Falcons win. They move to greater heights on the season, getting closer to their ultimate goal.
Yeah, let's Panthers just do some kind of unexpected miracle season. I'm gonna go with you on the Falcons over the Panthers as well.
So where do you have them now with those wins?
I think that puts me right at 7-7.
Okay. Well, yeah, we're just almost one off now at this point.
Right.
Okay. So the next game here we got the Indianapolis Colts versus the Falcons. And honestly, I think I'm going to go with the Colts in this game because they've known to be sticklers at certain points of the season. And like I said, this is still a young quarterback matchup in this situation. We might see something from the young man out in Indianapolis. I'm going to go with the Colts. It's going to move Atlanta to on my list their sixth loss of the season. Mr. KC, who do you got in this game?
I'm going to lean the Colts too, and it really got me thinking that this year the Atlanta is playing a lot of young quarterbacks. That really
Hmm.
might kind of sway things into their favor.
Exactly, and that's what I'm thinking too. And the next game we got going here, December 31st, before the new year, I actually have the Dirty Birds losing what I think is their last loss of the season against the Chicago Bears and Justin Fields. They moved to 7 losses on the season, but luckily you get to play Derek Carr and the Saints again, who will be collapsing by now more than likely if Derek Carr play is true to form. But we got that schedule. We got to see how far the cliff is. But that'll move you guys here to my grand total of 10-7 on the season.
Oh,
And
oh yeah,
actually, I think that's what I told some Falcons fans when I met them when he was down. I said they got all the opportunity. Really, they could go. They could get about 11 wins. Honestly, maybe 12 even. In
yeah.
certain
I
games.
don't see it. I see them losing that game to the Colts. They lose to the Bears, and they lose to the Saints to finish the season.
Ooh,
For me,
nine
unfortunately,
and
I
zero.
have them at 7-10, which
Mm,
really is. If you would have asked me before looking at the schedule, I probably would have went closer to like 5-12, maybe a 6-11. So I would say ending up at 7-10. It seems a smidge high to me, but this I broke down the schedule the same way anyone else did, and that's what I came up with. So I'm gonna have to stick to it.
I understand. Atlanta fans, 10-7 on the
Ten and
season.
seven. That's a
Uh,
playoff.
I think you're a playoff team. Yeah, I honestly do because this thing is wide open and your schedule really plays to your benefit.
And
It
let's
really
also
does.
not skip over the fact that, you know, 7-10 could really be the playoffs as well. It's not a
It could
guaranteed.
be.
That's not a playoff record either. I wouldn't be opposed to say, you could win the division at 7-10 with this division. So it could be a playoff team regardless. So shout out the Falcons.
Shout out to Atlanta, to the Falcons. Lovely city, lovely people. Man, big ups. Like I said, I think you get 10-7 out the boy Ritter. So we'll see. We'll see going forward. Mr. KC, what you got?
Well, I think we need to pick another team. And I think since I am Mr. KC from the 813, it's only right that we take a trip down Buccaneers Lane and see what the schedule looks like for the Bucks.
Whew. Buccaneers, Buccaneers. If you, ooh,
Mm,
starting off here. Let's see here. Let me get to it. Ooh, starting off against the Kings of the North. I'm taking the Vikings in this game.
mm.
Better quarterback situation. Uh, I just the Buccaneers. I think they're just too far gone. I'm not as high on them as you are. I think they're too far gone. Uh, I think it's gonna pile up on them before they know it.
Upset alert. Wake up, folks. Here it goes. I'm choosing the Buccaneers over the Vikings for this game. This is an over exaggerated quality of a team for the Vikings. And I think this is going to be the beginning of the wake up call for the Vikings fans.
Ooh. Ooh. Okay. We're gonna see on that one. That's definitely ooh, yeah, we're gonna see. Moving on to the next game. They got the Chicago Bears. And I think the Buccaneers moved to 0-2 on the season here. Better quarterback play and better team overall. It's the same case. It looks like even 2 weeks in a row so far, and then the next week we'll see. Mr. Casey, who you got against the Bears and the Bucks?
This is not last year's Bears team, folks. When I say this is an unexpected team, I can't wait for these NFC North picks. I'm really excited to see the Bears schedule.
Oh yeah.
Unfortunately for the Bucks, this is an improved team, and you guys have questions at quarterback. So I'm going to go ahead and go with the Bears on this one. I apologize, Buccaneers fans.
It's
Next
it's
week,
what it is, Bucks. Because this next pick, like I said, it don't get no better. You start off 0-3 on the season because you got to play Jalen Hurts and the Eagles, and it's just what it is. Uh, sorry, I don't know what to say. And it's prime time too. Dude, Jalen's gonna eat. He's gonna show why they gave him all that money, and it's going down. Mr. KC, by your scrolling, I'm assuming that you're going with me on that pick here.
yeah, I hate to tell you, Bucks fans, there ain't a lot of hope in that one. There's not a lot to say in your defense, and I apologize for the quick moving on. But it is what it is.
And it really don't get any better. You got to play the Saints, the New Orleans Saints. After that, historically, these guys have been on your heads for years. And once again, you find yourself in a situation with a guy who's a better quarterback, better situation around him. You move to 0-4. You lose to the Saints. I'm sorry.
I do want to say the Buccaneers roster on paper is probably better than the Saints. However, there might be a slight gap in quarterback play. I'm not big on Derek Carr, but that would be a
Yeah,
highly quality quarterback for the
but this is
Buccaneers.
going to be NFC Carr because
Yeah,
AFC Derek Carr is pretty good, but NFC Derek Carr,
he
he
might be
might
a
be
bad. He might be a
dangerous.
bad
He
man.
might he might be dangerous. So, but yeah, so who you got going into that one? I'm sorry.
I'm going Saints. That's pretty easy. Uh, and then
And
and then
then,
and
oh,
then
it don't get no easier, Tampa, because then you got to play Jared Goff and the Lions. And looking at the foreseeable future, if there's any game you're gonna win, it's got to be this one. But I think you lose this one too. Better situation, a scrappier team, better quarterback. I'm going with the Lions, moving the Bucks to 0-5.
yeah, I'm going to
Coach
go
on
with
the
the
hot seat.
Lions as well. Unfortunately, we're sitting at 1-4, not looking the greatest.
Because it don't get no better. I've already said Atlanta's going to sweep you, and this is game one of the Atlanta series. So we're moving you on down to 0-6, Tampa. And like I said, this is personal. Just look at your schedule, look at your team. It's
Hey,
it's sad because then you
cheer
got
up.
to play the right.
Oh no, no, I'm picking the Bucks to win this first Falcons game. So cheer up. I've
Oh,
got two wins
woo.
between the two of us. We got two wins on the season so far. It's pretty light on these boards. But give me the Buccaneers versus the Falcons.
Yeah, because I got you at 0-6, and it ain't getting no better because then you got to play the Bills, and you're going to 0-7. I
Mm.
mean, that's just how it is. This is one of the Bills' 5 wins that I gave them, and this is it's just terrifying for you guys here. Mr. Casey, who you got?
Well, this is going to be a pretty short and sweet Bills answer.
All right, there it
Josh
is.
Allen. What can you say?
Oh, and then the next game, you have C.J. Stroud and the Houston Texans, which is a better team by far, especially as far as the case Mr. KC made for them as their vast improvements. I think it's more than enough to beat the Buccaneers, especially at quarterback talent. You move to 0-8 on the season, and Mr. KC, who you got going in this game?
Unfortunately, this gets you down to 2-6 on my books. Shout out the Texans. But let's get looking forward to next week.
I'm trying to tell you because there's brighter days ahead, and I just don't mean the forecast clearing up. You get to play the Tennessee Titans, and by God, you get a dub here, and you move to 1-8 on the season. You finally taste victory. You finally know what it's like to be in the winner circle. Tampa Bay, stand up
And then
because it only gets harder again. Because then you got to play the San Francisco 49ers and you get your ninth loss on the season. So at least you got a week of celebrating. Thanksgiving weekend, you got a nice little vacation, and then a nasty loss waiting for you. Um, well, no, pre Thanksgiving. So after that, Mr. KC, I'm sure you're going Niners.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, they're gonna really need to savor that Titans victory.
I'm trying to tell you every morsel. And then you got to play the Indianapolis Colts. And in all reality, this game is probably the hardest to pick because I
Mm,
really just don't know what the Colts boy is going to do. I mean, in my soul, I feel like they're going to beat the Buccaneers just because the Buccaneers, in my opinion, are really that bad. But then again, the Colts aren't really that good either.
yeah,
We're going to see what that running game looks like. But if that thing is churning, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and give the Bucks the win right now. You're gonna go to
ooh,
2-9 on the season. Get
ooh,
you another win just because of the uncertainty that's going on in Indianapolis.
ooh. I'm actually, I'm not certain about Indianapolis, but I'm gonna take the Anthony Richardson leap of faith and
Okay.
go ahead and give him that L.
Okay. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Next game on the season here, Tampa Bay. You lose again to the number one overall pick, Bryce Young and the Panthers. Uh, by that time, he's played enough to where he can string together a few wins. Make it doesn't seem like he's a complete bust. It's a project, that kind of situation. And then, you know, you're 2-10. Mr. Casey, who you got? I had to check the schedule. Well, you
I'm
said
actually going Buccaneers over the Panthers.
okay, okay, nothing wrong with that. Um, the only unfortunate thing is you play Atlanta again that next weekend, and that's another L on the season for you. Like I said, they're gonna sweep you. I'm just sorry, it's just gonna happen. You move to 2-11, and this is really NFC South style for you guys right here, getting back to your roots. What you think, Mister Casey?
Yeah, I'm going to give them the loss there.
Got them
Unfortunately,
split. Okay.
um, I do have them at 4 wins currently, so
Yeah, it's two
not
apart.
terribly far apart.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, you get to play the Packers, and I think that's a game that you can win. You play the
Yeah,
Packers, you move to 3-11 on the season. Like I said, get your nice little celebration. You win around holiday times because right before the holiday, you about to get a treacherous sale because you got to play the prince that was promised, the prince of the AFC South, Trevor Lawrence, and the vastly improved Jacksonville Jaguars, and you move to 3-12 on the season.
yeah, the Jags won that game pretty easily.
Yeah,
Pretty
it's
easy.
unfortunate. It's definitely unfortunate. Um, in this next game here against the Saints, because Derek Carr is probably, if he's not trash by then, dude, he's probably gonna win this game too. If he's still playing, maybe. Oh, I gotta see their schedule. I'm just gonna do it, dude. The Bucks will lose this game too.
They
they're gonna
are.
get swept by the Saints, like, and it's gonna be 3-13. Goodness gracious. Yeah, you said they're gonna lose, so you're right there with me.
Yep.
And then the last game of the season, you play the Panthers again, almost back to back. Yeah, you finished 3-14, Tampa. That's it. Yeah, you're swept by pretty much everybody in the division almost.
I actually have them winning that Panthers game, which actually has
Split
them
them.
sweeping the Panthers. Oh, shout out.
On your end.
Yeah, yeah. So that's going to get me right up to 6-11. So
Woo.
slightly, looks slightly better than your 3-13, but still a real rough.
3-14.
Yeah,
Gotta get them all
yeah,
the
three and
L's.
fourteen. Excuse
Gotta
me.
get all the L's
You
now.
get all the L's in there. There are so many of them. It
Ooh.
was a lot of tallying to count up on one side. I haven't done that since we looked at the Chiefs win column. It was
Right.
amazing.
Goodness gracious. Yeah, dude, that Buccaneer schedule's brutal for them, and there's just so much uncertainty, and like I said, so much tread on the tires for all those players there, and not being able to draw adequate help because of previous moves when you just had to win now, and yeah, you're reaping what you sow. So with that, good. Mm-mm-mm.
All right. Well, let's get a quick one in. Let's do a real fast one. Let's hop on the Panthers Carolina
Right.
Panthers schedule here. Apologize to your Panthers fans that are tuning in just for this portion. Um, it might be a rough year for you guys. Let's take a look at it.
And none of this is personal. This is just how life goes. Because you start off with the mail to the Atlanta Falcons. We've already crossed that bridge.
You're right. Good
And
things.
we then week two here, you move on to Derek Carr. You lose that game. We've crossed that bridge. And then week
Seahawks.
three, you got to play Geno Smith. Oh my God, you're 0-3. Good night. Then you got to play the Thuggins of Kirk. That's 0-4. You got to play Jared Goff after that. You're 0-5. Then you got to play the Dolphins after that. You're 0-6. Good night.
Yeah,
Now, this is the one game here, Texans and Panthers.
yeah. This one is interesting. This one is really a battle of the draft picks, right?
It really is. And I think CJ Stroud showed why he should have won number one. And you moved to 0-7.
Mm,
Good night.
mm. I'm going with you. I feel like it too.
Oh, good night.
It
And
too.
then, luckily though, I think you get a win against the Colts. I like I say,
Okay.
I'm not a Richardson. He said I don't. I'm not a Richardson believer just yet. But I think Bryce Young, you like I said, you got to get one win in there. 1-7. It got to be against the Colts because those next few weeks, those next 2 weeks, you got to play Justin Fields. That's another loss. You're one
Well,
and eight.
that is another loss. Then you have
Then
the
you got to play
Cowboys.
Dak. Ooh, 1-9. You done lost two back to back, and then you get to play the Titans. So then you move to 2-9 on the season.
Now,
You
I'm
get
going to give
another
them the
dub.
hey. That is my first win on the books. Let's
Okay,
shout out. Get excited, Panthers fans. We've officially crossed the line of not being skunked on the full season.
right? Because you get a
Mm.
good dub on the Titans, and then you get to beat the Panthers. I mean,
No,
I'm sorry, the Panthers. You get to beat the Buccaneers.
no,
It's both so
they're not being
trash.
the Bugs. They're not being the Bugs. You called it correctly and you didn't even know it. They are
Right.
losing.
Well, no, because I got them sweeping the Bucks. Because the Bucks are
That's
just.
all
We're talking the batter of the dumpsters.
right.
Uh, so you get that dub, you lose to Derek Carr, so you're 3-9, and then you lose to the Falcons, then you're 3-10. Good night. And then you pay the Packers, and then you might get a fourth win. You get
I'm
four
giving them a win on the
wins.
Packers. That was gonna tell them get excited. We
4-10.
mm, mm,
4-10, and then you lose again because you got to play Jacksonville on Christmas before the New Year. So now you're 4-11, but there's hope on the horizon because you play the Bucks again and you move to what is that? What I got you at? Oh, that's 11 losses.
you
Yeah,
got
so
the
you're
Virginia
five and
Bucks
11 on the season.
5-11. That is absolutely more positive than my 2-15 that I currently have them at. Um, Jeez Louise, Panthers fans. That was
it's a
actually a murderous schedule.
it's a
Being
I was gonna
such
say.
a garbage team, this is unbelievable.
And shout out to one of the best things that ever came out of Cleveland, Bone Thugs and Harmony, because that schedule right there is Mo murder. Good.
Woo! That was not fair. I was not. I honestly thought. I thought you were right. I thought about that 5-win mark was probably about where it was going to end up for the Panthers until I looked at that murderous schedule. The Raiders got dealt like that as well. I don't know what
Hmm.
happened there, but this is a real close race of, being a bad team with a really hard schedule between these two.
Man.
I think the Panthers ran into a worse situation looking at that schedule. That was unfair.
Oh
Absolutely
yeah.
unfair.
Brutal.
Mm,
Brutal. Well, as is life. Some things are harder than, others.
that ain't no lie. Well, that leaves us with the final team of the night.
Which is the most interesting team in the division right now, besides the Falcons. Like I said, this is the division. This is what it's coming down to. How good can the Saints be to stop Atlanta from running away with the division at this point?
That is the question. I would say so far this is Atlanta's division to win, but if
Oh
I
yeah.
jumping to conclusions, Saints might win some games here.
Dude, we're about to see it. They're starting off 1-0. They get to play the Tennessee Titans.
Talk
Derek
about the
Carr.
tune-up game
Talk
of tune-up
man, talk
games.
about getting an extra preseason week. Are you kidding me? Come on. An extra preseason 2 weeks. You get to play the
3,
Panthers
3
right
weeks.
after.
3,
3 weeks. You get 4 weeks. 4 weeks.
4 weeks. We are 4.
We are
Listen,
4-0 in New
4-0.
Orleans.
Saints are starting out 4-0. The NFL is going to go absolutely bonkers when they run
Crazy.
into a
Derek Carr
4-0
got
Saints
the
team.
bro. Can you? I can see it now. The headline:
Mm.
Derek Carr's got the same
Yeah.
surgeon. They're rolling, and Tony Romo. They're rolling, Jim. And then they run into the Mac Jones Express, and they lose to the Patriots,
Oh,
going
I
4-1.
I can't believe you're doing this. I can't actually know you, but I'm
They're
actually keeping
running
the
into the
hype
Mac
train.
Jones Express.
Let's keep no, I'm keeping the hype train going. I'm giving 5
Keep
and
it.
0. 5
Mm-mm.
and 0. I'm not
The
ending
dream.
here for no Mac Jones. This bus don't stop for
Oh yeah.
Macathis
It
Jones.
it does stop for Sir Macklin Jones. Yes, it does. And Sir Belichick of Billington's. It stops right here. And then after that, you get to play the Houston Texans. And I think
Mm,
this is going to be a tough game.
this
See,
is a tough
it,
one.
it gets a little tough right here. It's a little tough stretch. Honestly, I'm still gonna ride with the Saints on that. I think they move to 5-1. I think they find a way to beat a young CJ Stroud. This is be his loss of the season so far. He'll learn something from it, and then that Texas team keep rolling. But that's a different conversation because right after that, he has to play the Dallas that was promised. Oh, I'm sorry. Who you got in the Texas game? I just assumed you were going with the Saints. I didn't even
I am
listen.
going with the Saints. You got it right. You're
Okay.
good.
Okay. Good deal.
You're
Okay.
good.
So then after that, you got to play the prince that was promised, and we all know that's going to be an L for them. So you're 5-2 on the season, and that's not bad in New Orleans right now.
And
That's actually pretty good.
actually, I think you only have them at one loss. I think it was just the one loss, wasn't it?
No, I gave them the loss to the Patriots, and then I said they're going to lose to Jacksonville.
Yeah, okay, Jacksonville's your second loss.
Yeah.
And that gives me the first loss for the season. I'm gonna ride the
So you got them
Jacksonville.
at 6-1, huh? That's
Yeah,
not bad
six to
though.
one. 6-1.
And so you have another interesting game against the Colts, but I think Derek Carr wins this game, moving them to up to 6-2 on the season. What about you, Mr. KC, and the young man Richardson? Does he beat Derek Carr and the Saints?
Oh, it's close. I really want to take the leap of faith and go with the Colts, but I'm gonna go with a proven Toyota car over
You
the
got to go with
new
that
Ferrari.
Corolla, man. You got to
Yeah,
go with that Corolla.
let me go with the
And the
Corolla.
key word is roll. It's gonna
Yeah.
roll.
No, preseason, I'm gonna stick with the safe, reliable choice and not worry about if my brand new '67 Corvette is gonna start or not.
Like I said, it's fluid. We'll see how it goes
Yeah,
as the season goes. We know it's fluid. Things are TBD, but as of right now, we're looking at the eye test. We're looking at the product, and I'm sorry, Colts fans, but it's not your time. Good night. Next game we got here, which will be a tough one. I got I got to go with the Bears over the Saints in
ooh,
this game. Justin Fields, like I said, he needs some prove me games, and I think this is another one for him. The Bears are vastly improved, better quarterback in my opinion, especially as far as how far he can go. I'm gonna go with the Saints losing. They moved to 6-3 on the season.
yeah, I thought that was gonna be my bold prediction, but you beat me to it. I'm going Bears as well.
Yes, sir. Next game we got here, we got a shootout. I think this is going to be a barn burner. It's going to be a blazing game. I really think it's going to be a slobber knocker, if you will. And I got the Saints winning this game against the Vikings, moving to 7-3 on the season.
Absolutely, you know it. The Vikings are going down and the Saints are going up. Give me the Saints for over the Falcons. Kirk Thuggins, sit down.
Hmm. And then the next game, really one of the games, like I said, it's going to determine almost the course of the division. I got the Falcons. Like I said, they was going to split with them, so I got the Falcons in the first meeting here. You beat Derek Carr. Give them a little taste of what it's like to be in the South. They moved to 7-4, but still thoroughly right in the mix.
Give me that dub. Saints over Falcons.
Mm. So where you got the Falcons? I'm in the Saints now.
That currently has me at what is that? 8-2 on the season, I believe.
Woo!
Yeah,
Nine, no,
actually,
you got me at
no,
9 and
yeah, 9-2.
yeah.
Yeah, let me
Okay.
get on my. No, well, I did not expect
Well,
this. I
butter
did
your
not expect
bread.
this.
Okay. And then I got you picking up another win. Saints, you get to play the Lions, and I think that you pick up that win, moving to 8-4 on the season here, which isn't too bad here. And then you pick up, well, you got Mr. KC in this Lions matchup.
Uh, I'm going Lions.
You
I'm
going line?
I'm
Okay.
going Lions over the Saints. Yeah, they get the guys back, healthy squad. Jared Goff is probably a better quarterback than Derek Carr. That's a close one, but I'm gonna go with the Lions.
I hear you. Um, I'm gonna go with the Saints getting another win back to back over the Carolina Panthers, moving them to 9-4 on the season here. I'm sure you're right there with me, Mr. KC.
Absolutely.
And then they move into an inevitable loss when they play Vanilla Vic and the New
Mm.
York Giants, and Daniel Jones say, "Hey, you're new to the NFC. I'm the one coming up here. I'm the other guy." You know what I'm saying? So the Saints move to 9-5, which won't be bad. Like I said, you're right in the thick of it. Uh, who you got in that game?
I'm gonna lean the Giants as well. I think the Giants have enough. They're more of a rising team than the Saints. This is gonna be a playoff matchup too, folks. We will
Oh
see
yeah.
these two teams again. And we will
Oh
see
yeah.
this game again.
Oh yeah, and that's what I think too. Because I think the Saints pick up an easy win against the Rams, December
Mhm.
21st, which moves them into 10-5 on the season. And then you get to play the Buccaneers again right after that, which moves you to 11-5. And then after that, playing the Falcons, beating them one more time, you move to 12-5 on the season. Good night. Are the Saints gonna go 12-5?
I cannot believe
Ooh,
I've got them at 13-4. Like, talk about
dude.
some wildness. This is pre-show. If you would have asked me this, I would have said maybe a 9-10 win team. This
So
was
they're turning
not.
out the NFC South will have two playoff teams, and this
No,
will and this could fly.
no, just
This
one.
could fly in the NFC. The Falcons are going to go 10-7. If at worst they could go, I mean, they really could go 11-6. At worst, 10-7.
No, not if they
That's a
go the
playoff team.
if I'm right and they go 7-10, they're not making the playoffs by any
Well, they're
stretch
not going
of
to
the
go seven and
imagination.
ten. They're going to go 10-7, and then the Saints will be
Mm,
12-5,
I
and
feel a
then you'll get.
lot more comfortable at 7-10. And I feel like
Ooh
7
wee.
is really high. Like if I was gonna bet over and under on 7, I'd probably bet the under. Like that's how I feel
I
about that.
understand.
I don't know about no 10 wins, but I've got to be. I'm still just like kind of blown away by this little. Is the Saints and Derek Carr gonna get? Are they really gonna get like first place?
We're gonna get playoff Derek Carr in the NFC.
We are getting Derek playoff. Carr is going to the playoffs. This is going to become a trend, I believe, since the
Oh yeah,
AFC is so bottlenecked up.
and see, I thought Lamar was gonna start it, but he ended up, staying there. Remember, we had talked about it because
Mhm.
few dude.
And it's a
Yeah,
smart move. There's the reason Brady did it. There's a reason Brady ran to the NFC South. And I
I
think
think,
you're going to
yeah,
see a similar experience minus the playoff success with Derek Carr.
I
If you
don't know, dude. Dude, Derek Carr in these playoffs, man, like it's the NFC, dude. Unless you got to play somebody out the East, like I said, yeah, I like your chances almost. I
well, I mean,
really do.
even if you run into a couple of teams in the West, if you run into the Niners or the Seahawks, all of a sudden the Saints teams look real flimsy. You go up
Ah,
north. What are you maybe getting lucky running into Chicago or the Vikings? Like, that's
that's
not
what I'm
the,
saying.
the
Like I said, unless you run into somebody out the East, you could
but
probably make it to the conference.
let's not overlook Derek Carr actually making the playoffs. Like that is
True.
an accomplishment
This
that you
all
almost
hinges on his
never
performance.
saw in the West
No,
when he
no,
was in the AFC West. One time,
no. What did he get? A wild card? I think
one
he
and a
got.
half. Yeah, he got to play. It was two wild card games. Um,
Hmm.
he didn't get a play in the first time that he made the playoffs. He was injured, but he played like 15 of the 16 games. He made it so they made the playoffs. So I'm going to
Right.
give him credit for making the playoffs on that season, even though he didn't play in it. But he's only played in one playoff game.
Well, luckily he done did the best thing that anybody could do. You go to the NFC South, where the division is wide
Yeah.
open. You'll probably do something you ain't done in years, well, ever. I don't think the Raiders ever won a division title with Derek Carr. So you'll
No,
you'll
no.
you'll get to do you'll get one career accolade. You win a division title, maybe. You'll get to the offs. Like I said, man, it's gonna be interesting, dude. I
That
really
was a
think
pretty
they're
cupcake
gonna have two
schedule.
playoff teams.
That
They're
was
gonna have two.
pretty cupcake. Old Derek Carr.
Like I said, is Tyron Matthew still out there with and then what's the old
Oh,
boy
you talk
name?
about Michael Thomas?
Sorensen? No, I'm talking about the Tyron Matthew, the safety.
Oh,
I
yeah,
said
yeah.
he's still
Tyrod
out there on the
nephew.
field.
Yeah, him
And
and
the boy
Dirty
Sorensen?
Dan. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know what I'm thinking.
Did
I'm
the
thinking
Saints
Michael.
make a run?
Yeah.
Good night.
I mean,
Can
if you
you
get a healthy
imagine?
Michael Thomas and he performs
Dude, I'm hoping for a healthy Michael Thomas.
80%,
That's my boy, man. He was supposed to be a chief. But Sean Payton does what Sean Payton does. Make
dude,
sure we didn't get it.
kind of dodging a bullet with him. Kind of.
Well, shoot, like I said, man, that KU health system's totally different, man. We would have had him
True.
tuned up right. Shout out to my boy Kadarius Tony, got his legs and knees right for a Super Bowl run. So I'm
Mm,
just saying,
yeah,
we get folk right. Patrick almost break his ankle on the field. He back the next quarter. You know what I mean? Shout out to the KU health system, man. Simply the best. They need to have me on their
absolutely.
commercials.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's the amazing NFC South, folks. What can we tell you? It's kind of a
Well,
surprising, almost
we're in
surprise.
consensus though that the bottom two are definitely the Panthers and the Bucks.
Yeah. And any
And
Bucks fan,
we're really in consensus all the way through. We got the Falcons second and the Saints one. So we're saying the same thing,
yeah,
but we're just different on the numbers. We're saying the exact
yeah,
same order.
yeah. The
That's
order is
crazy.
the exact same. It is really just a question of health for the Saints, I would suppose. Maybe if Baker Mayfield can really come out and be a good quarterback again, but I don't have a lot of faith in that either. Um, I got questions about Michael Thomas's health. Yeah, I feel like if he's healthy, the Saints really could be something. They could be
Yeah,
a low key team
they could be the team to beat in the South.
in the South. Yeah, and
Man, dude. We're gonna see, man. That's a better record than what I gave the Cowboys and a couple teams. So
yeah, and I would say like Panthers fans, you could be mad, but I picked you guys to win last season. Like
plenty
uh,
of time. We get plenty of chances, plenty of opportunity. Like I said, we're from the show me. If now just prove us wrong, that's all we ever ask.
that's all we ever ask.
'Cause
Just like the Denver fans that are mad in the comments. You know, they were mad about their predictions, and I explained to them that you can look at the predictions from last season. Um, I was right. I'm continuous to be right. We can
man,
look at what your prediction is and go from there, but you don't want to give your prediction because the number you're going to come up with looks an awful
fallacy.
lot like my number. I guarantee it. I
Got to.
guarantee it. So if you're mad and upset, we appreciate your comments. Please let us know why you're mad, and we'll explain to you why you're wrong and mad. It's a fun
Exactly.
thing to be.
It's a science. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a science.
Luckily, we're
Um,
never that. So
yeah. Like I said, I mean, if things weren't so blatant, this wouldn't be bold enough for me to say. That's why
no,
it's bold predictions. Because I mean, this is it's almost truth. We should just call this the truth. The
this
truth
is
times. It's
two
truth.
time
Truth
prediction.
time. Sit down. Truth time. Sit
Mm,
around.
mm. Call it the
Oh
Straight
man.
Shooter Podcast because you're
Straight
gonna.
shooter. Shooter McGavin. Bang bang.
They call me
Shoot.
Quick Draw McGraw. I went to art school.
Panthers versus I don't care, whoever they're playing.
Shout out the thing.
Oh man, yeah. Shout out to Derek Carr, man. We're gonna see here. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all we had. AFC. I'm sorry, AFC. NFC South is on the books. Um, Dude, we'll be back again with another one soon. I'm just this Derek Carr thing has got me going. Good night, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. KC, once again, pleasure.
You too,